Welcome to the deep dive. This is the show where we take a stack of your sources, articles, research, your own notes, and we just extract the absolute most important nuggets of insight for you.
Basically, it's your shortcut to being well-informed.
Exactly. And today we are looking at a pretty radical shift in city planning. We're drawing all this from a really comprehensive source publication provided by wikiresidence.ca and infodrone.ca. And just a quick note, that's actually available for you to explore in both text and audio versions, which is great.
Yeah, highly recommend checking those out.
For sure. So to kick us off today, I want you to just imagine a scenario for a second. You are at your favorite, incredibly crowded local cafe.
Oh, I know the exact feeling. You're stocking the tables.
Right, you're stocking the tables, and you finally manage to snag the absolute best one right by the window. But you're actually saving it for a friend who, as it turns out, isn't going to arrive for hours.
Oh, no, the worst.
Yeah, so now you have a choice, right? You could just, throw your coat over the extra chairs, aggressively guard the space, and leave those seats totally empty while everyone else in the coffee shop just sort of awkwardly stands around waiting.
Which people definitely do.
They do. Or you could let the rest of the cafe use that prime real estate for, mini meetings, quick coffees, whatever, in the meantime, right up until your friend finally walks through the door.
And that second option, it completely transforms the entire energy of the room.
Exactly.
You've taken a space that was locked in this state of, well, like suspended animation, a dead zone where nothing is happening, and you've turned it into this active, breathing part of the community's ecosystem.
And that right there is the perfect framework for what we are exploring today.
Yeah.
We are looking at what happens when a major city does exactly that, but on a massive scale.
Yeah, a true textbook case of what urban planners call transitional urbanism.
Right. Specifically, we're diving into how the Borough of Verdun in Montreal is turning some highly coveted vacant lots on Chemin du Golf, that's in l'Île de Sur, or Nuns Island for the English speakers, into a full-on participatory community space. And they're doing this while they wait for major sports infrastructure to be built literally decades down the line.
Which is wild because it forces us to completely reevaluate the whole timeline of city planning.
How so?
Well, we are so conditioned to look at construction fences and, vacant dirt lots with this sense of cynical inevitability. We just assume they'll sit there as a blight on the neighborhood until some developer decides it's finally profitable to pour concrete.
Yeah, you just kind of get used to the ugly chain link fence.
Right. But this approach is resolutely constructive. And that's really our mandate today. We are taking a heavily solution-oriented approach, looking at the how and the why of urban transformations as genuine community opportunities, not just, real estate speculation.
Right. But to really grasp what this land is actually going to become, we sort of have to rewind a bit. We need to look at how the city even managed to get their hands on a vacant lot in such a hyper-competitive area in the first place. Because, Nuns' Island is not exactly a place where you just stumble upon vast, empty fields waiting to be claimed.
Oh, far from it. The historical context of l'Île de Sur is staggering, honestly, if you look at the speed of its development.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a long time, this was primarily agricultural land. It was quiet, rural, totally disconnected from the dense urban core of Montreal.
Hard to picture that now.
I know, right? But starting in the 1960s, it experienced this spectacular and just incredibly rapid wave of residential densification. So over just a few decades, it transitioned from open farmland into one of the most highly sought-after urban island markets in the entire country.
So an empty piece of land there isn't just rare. It's like finding a blank canvas in the middle of the Louvre. Every single luxury real estate developer wants to paint their masterpiece on it.
That is a highly accurate way to look at it. Vacant lots are scarce, incredibly valuable commodities there now. And as you would expect in that kind of environment, they're subject to intense cutthroat real estate speculation.
Which makes the City of Montreal's move 2 years ago completely fascinating.
Yeah, they use a legal mechanism called the right of preemption.
The right of preemption, what is that exactly?
So this is a tremendously powerful and frankly somewhat controversial tool for a municipality. The right of preemption essentially allows the city to step in and intercept a real estate transaction.
Wait, really? Just cut in line?
Literally cut in line. They can purchase land in priority over any other private buyer. It's a legal fast pass. So if a strategic piece of land goes up for sale, even if private developers are circling like sharks, the city can legally step in and say, nope, We're claiming this.
Wow.
Yeah, and the goal is to ensure that the space is utilized for projects that directly benefit the community, rather than just going to the highest commercial bidder so they can build, more luxury condos.
Okay, so they use that right to acquire two very specific strategic lots near Roland-Janot Street. And according to the mayor of Verdun, that's Celine Audrey Beauregard, the long-term plan is to build major sports facilities on this land.
Right.
But they are looking at a 15 to 20-year horizon here. They're aiming for the 2040s. And the mandate is that these future facilities must be multi-use, multi-sport, and multi-purpose.
Which, as you can imagine, requires an enormous amount of long-term planning, budgeting, and architectural foresight.
Okay, wait, I have to push back on this a little bit.
Sure, go ahead.
Because if a city uses a legal fast pass to intercept prime real estate from private buyers and then just holds on to that vacant land for 20 years before they actually build anything, isn't that just another form of real estate speculation?
I mean, I see where you're going.
Right, like are they just playing developer with public funds, just gambling on the future value of the land?
That is the natural critique to make, for sure, but there is a vital difference in the underlying mechanism here.
Okay, what is it?
Well, a municipal sports complex of the scale they are envisioning, it's going to cost tens of millions of dollars. A project like that requires decades of capital planning, environmental assessments, budget approvals from multiple levels of government.
So a ton of red tape.
Exactly. Tons of it. But the land itself won't wait for the bureaucracy to catch up. If the city didn't buy those lots 2 years ago, they would be gone forever, permanently swallowed up by private development.
Ah, okay. I see the distinction now. The acquisition isn't speculation to turn a profit. It's a defensive maneuver.
Precisely. It was a crucial real estate investment purely to secure public space for the people, especially in a market where public space is rapidly, permanently disappearing. They bought the land to protect the future of the neighborhood's public assets. They're acting as a steward rather than a speculator.
Okay, that makes the acquisition strategy make a lot of sense. But it still leaves us with an immediate glaring problem. They have the land right now, but the mechanical shovels and the concrete mixers aren't showing up until the 2040s. So how on earth do they avoid leaving this prime real estate as an abandoned, fenced-off dirt lot for the next 2 decades? Because we both know nothing drags down the morale of a neighborhood quite like a fenced-off wasteland collecting trash.
Oh, absolutely. And this is exactly the problem that transitional urbanism is designed to solve. The city recognized a profound truth about time here. 2 decades is an entire generation.
Right, 20 years is a long time.
Yeah. You simply cannot leave a scar in the middle of a vibrant community for a generation and tell them, well, just be patient.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the specific strategy they are deploying on Chemin du Golf is brilliant in its simplicity. They opted for a layout that is designed to be light, reversible, inexpensive, and entirely in harmony with the natural environment. To me, this sounds like pop-up architecture.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it's like a real-world beta test for the neighborhood.
A beta test is the perfect analogy, especially when you look at the economics behind it. Traditional urban planning is heavily reliant on massive capital budgets.
Huge money.
Exactly. When a city builds a permanent park, they have to do deep environmental impact studies, dig up the earth to install permanent underground irrigation, pour deep concrete foundations, wire up heavy-duty lighting grids. I mean, it costs millions of dollars before anyone even gets to sit on a park bench.
But transitional urbanism completely bypasses that heavy infrastructure, right?
Entirely. Because the development is specifically designed to be reversible, you aren't dipping into those massive multi-million-dollar capital funds. You are using much smaller, much more agile operational budgets.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we were talking about removable street furniture, above-ground planting bins, modular shading structures, stuff that can be assembled and disassembled without heavy machinery.
That's so smart.
And for a surface area like the lots on Chemin du Golf, the operational budget is estimated to be between just $100,000 and $300,000.
Wow. When you think about the fact that a city usually spends millions just moving dirt around, activating a massive public space for under $300,000 is basically finding couch change to build a community oasis.
Right. It's incredibly cost-effective.
And from what I understand in the sources, the economic model goes beyond just the physical items on the lot. They're actually changing how the space is maintained.
Yes. So to optimize public costs even further, the city is looking to partner with local organizations for the maintenance and the animation of the space. The sources specifically mentioned utilizing local eco-districts or solidarity cooperatives.
Okay, let's pause there for a second, because for anyone who isn't steeped in urban planning jargon, What exactly is a solidarity cooperative in this context?
Think of a solidarity cooperative as a community-owned organization where the residents themselves share both the responsibility and the benefits of maintaining the space.
So it's not the city doing it?
Right. Instead of relying on a distant, overworked city municipal department to come mow the lawn and pick up the trash, a cooperative hands the stewardship directly to the people who live there. They might organize the planting schedules, run weekend events, manage the upkeep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it decentralizes the cost for the city while building intense civic pride.
It makes you wonder, though, if you hand a blank canvas over to a neighborhood and ask them to be the stewards, what do they actually draw?
Well, we know the answer. The borough ran a survey this past spring to find out.
Oh, right. And the results from that completely flip my expectations of what a park should be.
The level of engagement alone was a clear indicator of how hungry the community is for this kind of intervention. They had 528 respondents take the time to complete the survey.
Which, over 500 people might not sound like a massive number on a global scale, but 80% of those respondents actually live right there on Nuns Island.
Exactly. It's so localized.
Yeah, that isn't casual internet scrolling from people across the city. That is intense, hyper-local protective instinct. These are the people whose daily walking routes pass right by these lots. And even more amazing, about 50 of those citizens explicitly stated they want to get directly, personally involved in the project.
Which is amazing.
Right. That is a volunteer workforce of 50 people ready to go on day one.
And it proves a fundamental principle of modern urbanism. When you offer people a genuine, tangible say in their immediate environment, they don't just want to be passive consumers of the space. They want to be active co-creators.
Absolutely. And the top 3 preferred uses from that survey, they provide a fascinating window into the psychology of modern urban dwellers. The number 1 request wasn't for a playground or, I don't know, a soccer field.
No, it wasn't.
It was for relaxation and co-working spaces. They explicitly asked for armchairs, shade, and outdoor work tables.
This is a direct reaction to the sociological shifts we've seen since the pandemic, specifically the rise of remote work. The traditional boundary between the office and the home has permanently dissolved for a lot of people.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right. But working from a small apartment all day can feel incredibly isolating. So people are desperately seeking outdoor environments where they can be productive, connect to the city's Wi-Fi, but also regulate their nervous systems by breathing fresh air and just being around other humans.
Makes total sense. And then the second most popular request was for biodiversity and interpretation spaces. So they specifically want native plant species, educational panels, and landscaping designed to attract pollinators.
Notice the shift there, though. They don't just want a sterile, manicured green lawn to look at. They want a space that actively repairs the local ecosystem. As cities have heavily densified and concrete has essentially taken over, there's a deep psychological need to see bees, butterflies, and natural life cycles returning to the neighborhood.
Yeah, people miss nature.
Yeah.
And the third top request ties right into that need for tactile engagement container urban agriculture. They want to grow vegetables, edible plants, and herbs right there on the lot.
People are realizing that if they are going to live in a dense concrete grid, they need physical interactions with nature to feel grounded. They don't just want to walk past a tree. They want to get their hands in the soil and grow a tomato. It's a desire for connection. Connection to work, connection to nature, and connection to the food they eat.
And when they were asked about the vibe or the identity of the place, the residents were totally unified. They want a space that is peaceful and rejuvenating with an organic or modern touch. They aren't looking for a loud, chaotic amusement park. They want an oasis.
What's fascinating here is how the borough is actively forging this community ownership by inviting the citizens to literally name the space.
Oh, I love that part.
Because a municipal lot number is bureaucratic and cold. But a name gives a place a soul. It transforms it from a quote-unquote vacant lot into a destination with an identity.
And the community absolutely delivered on that front. The sources say no fewer than 264 people submitted 292 unique name suggestions.
That's a lot of ideas.
It is, and reading through the list provided in the sources is like reading a psychological profile of the neighborhood. Some suggested Ile de Cure, which translates to Island of Hearts. There was Oasis de Saint Laurent, or Oasis on the St. Lawrence.
Both of those lean heavily into that stated desire for a peaceful, rejuvenating nature retreat amidst the density.
Then you had Place des Pionniers, Pioneer Square, and Parc des Générations, Generations Park, which really speak to a longing for legacy and intergenerational connection. And finally, names like Espace Roland Jeannot, routing it very firmly and proudly in its specific geographic location.
The incredible variety of those names highlights exactly why this project is so vital. If you look closely at the underlying thread connecting what the community asked for, the co-working spaces, the shared agriculture, the intergenerational names, none of this is about just wanting a pretty patch of grass to walk the dog.
Right.
It reveals a much deeper structural need in our cities.
So what does this all mean? When you strip away all the urban planning jargon and the municipal budgets, what is this space actually doing for the human beings living on Nuns Island?
It's functioning as what sociologists call a third place.
A third place.
Yeah. So in our social structure, the first place is your home, your private sanctuary. The second place is your work or school, where you have formal duties and hierarchies.
Okay.
The third place is that crucial, neutral public space, where you can simply exist, interact with neighbors without an agenda, and build social cohesion. Historically, third places were the town squares, the local pubs, the community halls, or even the public libraries.
Oh, it's the cafe in our analogy from the beginning.
Exactly. But in highly dense, modern residential areas, those third places are increasingly being squeezed out by commercialization. Often, the only way to sit down in a public space now is if you are willing to buy a $7 latte.
Which is so true. It's expensive just to exist outside.
Right. So by using transitional urbanism to create an outdoor co-working and agricultural space that is completely free and open to everyone, the city is intentionally manufacturing a non-commercial third place.
Wow.
Free public space is almost a radical concept today. It breaks down urban isolation, promotes those accidental intergenerational encounters, and it directly supports mental health.
Because creating what the planners call islands of coolness and greenery, it isn't just an aesthetic choice to make the street look nicer. It acts directly on the human nervous system. Studies consistently show that having access to tactile nature in a concrete environment lowers cortisol levels and reduces ambient stress. It directly fulfills that explicitly stated need from the survey for a peaceful and rejuvenating environment.
And that is the true, measurable social impact of transitional urbanism. It elevates psychological well-being from being just a nice bonus to being a valid, necessary metric for city planning.
I mean, even if you, listening to this right now, don't live anywhere near Montreal, this entire initiative serves as an incredibly inspiring blueprint for the future of cities everywhere. It proves that any dense, hyper-competitive urban area can combat isolation and improve the mental health of its citizens using temporary, low-cost spaces.
Exactly.
You don't need $100 million and 20 years of environmental reviews to change the vibe of a neighborhood. You just need some above-ground planter boxes, some modular outdoor desks, and a willingness to step back and let the citizens take the wheel.
And the immediate next steps are now in the hand of the borough's urban planners and landscape architects. They are taking all this rich, detailed, hyper-local citizen feedback, and they're using it to develop a formal architectural concept this fall.
And if everything goes according to the schedule outlined in our sources, the final installation of all these reversible, lightweight developments will be completely finished and open to the public by the summer of 2027.
It is a remarkable turnaround for municipal government. It takes decades of bureaucratic waiting and turns it into an immediate, lived opportunity.
Totally.
If we connect this back to the broader picture of how we build our cities, the ultimate takeaway here is highly constructive. Urban transformations do not have to be merely cold vehicles for concrete pouring and real estate speculation. When used thoughtfully, tools like the right of preemption and transitional urbanism turn dormant land into living, breathing assets. They empower citizens to have a tangible voice in their daily environment, and they allow us to test drive the future of a neighborhood today rather than waiting for tomorrow.
Which honestly brings me to a thought I just cannot shake. We've been talking this whole time about how this space on Chemin du Golf is transitional. It's a temporary setup, a 20-year placeholder before the millions of dollars are finally spent to pour permanent concrete for a massive sports complex in the 2040s.
Right.
But 20 years is a very, very long time. That is an entire childhood.
It really is.
That is 2 decades of daily habits being formed, of friendships being struck up over the community garden boxes, of teenagers doing their homework at the outdoor co-working tables, and of seniors finding a peaceful oasis on a Tuesday afternoon. If this temporary space ends up shaping the daily rhythm, the social cohesion, and the core memories of an entire generation, won't this transitional pop-up layout actually end up defining the neighborhood's permanent identity far more deeply than the final sports complex ever could? Think about that the next time you save a seat at the cafe.
Thank you for watching this video. For more news and in-depth reports, visit wikiresidence.ca. All our content is available in text and audio formats across all your devices. Please feel free to share your comments with us.